Good afternoon, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan, where we have more FBI agents and paid informants than we do actual conspirators in the plot to kidnap our governor and dictator, Gretchen Whitmer. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about something different that I've been watching a little bit on Twitter. The Twitter war is a bit on, and that has to do with the World Series of Poker. Yes, it's back this year in Las Vegas at the Rio, and it brings in all the pros, the biggest the biggest poker tournament ever. They spent like the first month all online. These are all live tournaments at the Rio. They go on for about a month and they lead up to the main event. And so when you bring all these broken individuals together, they've played tournaments together, home games together. Just watch Daniel Negreanu he does an excellent World Series vlog, and it could have actually been this tournament, but he sits down at a table and he knows probably of the 6 people that are there. I think it was a 6-max tournament, being 6 people maximum at a table. He knows 4 of them. He knows 4 or 5 of them. He's played against him for years. So they've all played together. They've had histories. They've probably had arguments. But anyways, this one centers around a guy named Adam Hendricks. Here's his pic. His Twitter bio says, "Poker pro from Alaska. I've never heard of him. Have no idea who he is." And the next one is Kelly Minkin. Now, I have heard of Kelly. There's not a lot of female professional poker players. Kelly is sort of the triple threat. Looks being 2 of them and playing ability another. I don't know what she's won. She may have won a few local stuff or something interstate. She is an attorney. I believe she is from Arizona. But anyways, in a poker tournament, especially in a big field, there's a few things that contribute to winning or going very deep in a tournament. Of course, luck has one of them. Luck or variance. If it's going your way, it's a good thing. There's also experience. The more experienced players definitely have an advantage over inexperienced players. But the third one that very few people talk about until maybe after a tournament that they've won or been really successful in is table draw. And that is the random selection of players that are placed at the table with you. So if you're, even for the professional players, if you're placed at a table that has several very, very good poker players at it, it's difficult to win a lot of chips. They're just not going to give up the chips. Where if you're the only pro sitting at a table with a bunch of recreational players, you're sitting in a target-rich environment and have a very good chance of increasing your chip count. So that being said, there's also another little thing about poker that really only happens in live tournaments, and that's something called angle shooting. And angle shooting is, I guess, not considered, I hate to use the word illegal. It's not necessarily against the rules, but it is it is highly frowned upon, because angle shooting is nothing more than an attempt for you to gain an advantage. Sort of like your opponent has put in a bunch of chips, or you've put a bunch of chips into the pot and you're waiting for your villain to act on it. He's not sure what he really wants to do, if he wants to call or fold, and they take a big stack of chips and they start, it appears that they're moving it towards the pot, and they're just looking at you to get a reaction out of you. And if they get one that looks like you're happy about it, then they pull the chips back. They're just looking for an advantage. Well, Kelly Minkin entered a Six Max tournament the other day, and then withdrew from the tournament. And here's the Twitter post from Mr. Hendricks. You can see it says, "I heard." That was close. That was closer than you may have seen on it. That SUV. But anyways, Kelly Minkin entered the Six Max tournament, sat down at the table, and then unregistered the tournament. And he was told in his tweet, in his post there, that she was told if she unregistered, she could not register again. But a little while later, Kelly was back in the tournament. So what does that say to some of the immediate response by some of the poker players? Well, the first one is the World Series of Poker, as far as the rules go, it depends on really who you are. If you're a well-known player, they'll bend the rules for you. They'll let you re-register. The other one is an angle shoot. Like I said before, table draw is an important factor in going deep in tournaments. She could have sat down at the table, because she did apparently see a few hands. She was not dealt any hands. She was probably, we'll get to why she said she left, but she did not get any hands, so she didn't officially play. She sat at the table. Whether or not she put any kind of blinds in or not, I don't know. But she sat at the table. They finally allowed her to leave, and then she re-entered. So for some poker players, they're saying, yeah, she sat at the table. She waited to see who was sitting at her table. She saw this was going to be a rather difficult table. It was not going to allow her to really have much of an advantage. There's maybe 2 or 3 pros at the table. So Kelly left and then re-registered and hoped that she could get a better table draw. So then Kelly finally responded. She initially responded. I'm not sure if I have that post, but she initially responded to that first tweet by Mr. Hendricks about I heard a well-known poker player did this. She wrote back and said it was about me, but it's not close to the truth. So what is the truth? The truth, according to Kelly, is that she sat down, and at the table next to her was someone that had in the past harassed her and had stolen money from her. So she didn't want to sit at a table next to them. So that's why she wanted out of the tournament and to register later. Now, there's nothing that says she couldn't have ended up at that table. And there's nothing that says if both of them do well, they could both end up playing at the final table together. But apparently that would be okay with her. Now, I don't think she angle shooted. I don't think she did this to gain some sort of advantage. I think what she's saying is probably true. Like I said, all these people are broken people. They've taken advantage of one another for years and years and years. But once again, Daniel Negreanu has talked about some of this in the past. There's no end to the history of poker players with one another. I don't think she did angle shoot, but she didn't really think this thing through. That they could end up at a table together sometime down the road, and then what? So, as much as I don't think it was an angle shoot, I think her reasons for leaving were bullshit. So, that's about it. If you really want to follow someone on with this, Daniel Negreanu has a really great World Series of Poker 20-minute vlog every day. You can watch him continually leak money out of his millions into these tournaments. But he does a really, really good vlog. If I see any other ones that are coming up, but the controversies, I'll put them up. But angle shooting at this time, I'd have to say no, but I'm not sure Kelly really thought this thing through. If they said something to her at the table, she could have got the floor to come over and tell the individual to shut the hell up, and that would have been the end of it, or they would have asked him to leave. So I think there were better ways for her to handle it. Anyways, just my opinion. But I'm sure there'll be more stuff down the road with it. Charger Troller saying aloha and good day.